Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. This is Grace Guitars, and thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about the most hated guitar, I would say, that ever existed. And that is the Firebird. Now, you're probably thinking, well, no, I like the Firebird. The reverse Firebird is also nice, too. You know, you think these traditional Firebirds are really, really nice. But then you get into two very controversial guitars by Gibson that you either love them or you hate them, and a lot of people really, really, really hate them. So first up, we have something, more modern. The Gibson Firebird Zero S Series. Now keep in mind, there were other series in this guitar. There was like an SG, there was a Les Paul, and I think the Firebird. I think that was the only three in this particular series. But I believe the Firebird was the cheapest one, and it seemed to be the one that people generally hated the most. Because this was a sub $500 Gibson. This thing sold brand new for $499. You can still pick them up for right around that price. Price-wise, it's pretty much stayed consistent. They are not very desirable. Some people like using them as a mod platform. A lot of people did not like the pickups. They weren't traditional Gibson pickups. The bridge was some sort of really cheap bridge that Gibson has never really used before, to my knowledge. The truss rod cover, some people... well, I guess Gibson does that for flying Vs, but you don't even have like an actual decal on the headstock. It's just on the truss rod cover. I don't even know if the tuners were actually like Grovers or something. Let's see if we can actually get some specs here. This is saying average price $600. They might be a little bit more now. Wraparound, fretboard. Let's see. Model is for the pickup is the Rye DSC Black, whatever the heck that means. Let's see if we can get some better specs on this. Let's see. I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, you have to go to, like, Reverb listings to see what we have here. Hopefully, this gives us some information. Let's see. More. Yeah, that one's selling for $700. So, let's see. Scrolling down. Yep. Sometimes you can't find the specs, unfortunately. But... I believe the body was like ash, something along those lines. But the issue was, this is a guitar that in reality should have been in the box with the Squiers. Everybody hated this thing. Everybody. I know there's some reviews here. There's only 17 reviews. But the majority of people did not like this thing. Literally look up any and every video. I really wish I could find the specs for you. I'm going to keep looking. Let's see. Here's a guitar review from 2016. Finding specs on old guitars, I mean, this is something that they probably want nothing to do with. But I've heard paint issues. There was a lot of paint issues with like chunks literally coming off of the guitar. The neck fret sprout. Gibsons, I don't typically think fret sprout, but they were just crapping these things out. It was something where, yes, it was a USA-made guitar. Was it a good made in USA guitar? No. The majority of people really, really hated this. Let's see here. This one says features. So we have the body style is the reverse Firebird. So it's a Poblar body. Poblar body. So already off to a bad start. That is some cheap wood. One-piece solid maple neck, satin nitro finish. Slim taper. It was not slim. I actually did physically play one of these things. I would consider it a thicker neck. Maybe I just got a weird inconsistent one. The inconsistencies, the quality controls, feels narrower. Neck width, heel design, glue-in neck, fingerboard one. At least we get some actual rosewood. 22 frets. Tectoid. I think, doesn't Gibson usually use something different? Acrylic dots, adjustable wraparound. A lot of people hated the bridge on these things, too. They said they just weren't set up properly. They could never get the thing intonated. Black knobs. Let's see. Made in USA, double slugs, DCS rhythm. I'm actually curious of what these things even go for. The one thing that's really interesting about the cheaper Gibsons is sometimes they have USA-made pickups, but sometimes they're just kind of like randomly all over the place. Yeah, they're still selling for a decent amount of money. Well, that's used $250. But they didn't really put these in a lot of things besides this line, to my knowledge. It's kind of like the Melody Makers. The Melody Maker I have, it has a pickup that's kind of old, and it's like a 496 TS or some random nonsense. They don't really put it in anything. But I think the major issue, this was kind of like peak Gibson terrible quality control. They were like, all right, people are not buying our guitars. What is the cheapest thing we can make that we can slap together super fast and throw out that a lot of people are going to buy? And a lot of people did buy these things, because you see Gibson for $499, you think, oh, immediately, that's probably going to go up in value. Maybe I'll buy one. Heck, maybe I'll buy two. And then the reality of it was they were so junky, so crappy, so flawed, that nobody wanted anything to do with them. And nobody still wants anything to do with them. I mean, some people, I've seen them, they use it as a modding platform. I have not seen a single person use this as their main guitar. And, you know, some people use Epiphones for their main guitar. Some people use Squiers. I don't know one person that's just like, oh yeah, oh boy, let's jump on the board for getting that Firebird. Zero. The other guitar where I actually had to look up a review is the Gibson Firebird X. This is a little older. I believe they released these around 2011. Yeah, this article right here is from 2011. And they retailed for $5,500. Very expensive, and a lot of things going on. You got to keep, in mind, you're boomers. Boomers are in their mid-60s now. So back then they were in their mid-50s. They weren't retired yet. They were still, still had that steady paycheck. They did not touch this thing with a 20-foot pole. Young people did not want to touch this thing with a 20-foot pole. Cooler in practice than reality. It's got the robot tuners, which a lot of people don't like. I've used them. I think they're fine. As long as they're working properly, and, I don't really care. Robot tuners are fine. For me, you just got to understand how to use the system. But this is something where there's just too much going on for the average player. There's like 20 different switches. Not everybody's going to want to plug their guitar into a computer. Not everybody is going to want to, pay that kind of money for something like this. It's supposed to be a studio all-in-one. This is something where it's supposed to be like for studio guitarists, where basically you have the guitar, you put it in the studio, this thing gets every single sound you want possibly. It came with all of this extra crap, and a lot of people just kind of want to plug it. Some people like it. I mean, let's be honest. Some people like it, but I think for the price point, there was too much. It was too expensive for the people that were probably going to buy this. And I have seen a few people rip out everything. Put a couple of mini toggles in, have the 3 pickups, get rid of the robot tuners, do all of that. And it's a nice playing guitar. But when you literally had to destroy these for a tax write-off, I don't know if you remember that video. This is my own personal video here that we used. And you can see this. There's a guy in an excavator riding over these things. They literally could not get rid of them. They've reduced the price to $4,000, and then I think some shops are reducing them to $3,500. I did see a brand new one. The lowest I saw one of these for was $3,000. And you can actually buy them used for right around that price, but they get crushed. They get crushed so much, and it's like, why? Why is this stuff getting crushed? Everybody's like, you could donate to students in need, things along those lines. A lot of people got very angry at Gibson during this time period. And the thing is, they have to do it. So it's something where they consider the guitars a loss because they can't sell them, so they have to destroy them in order to get the tax write-off. So you don't even see a lot of them anymore, because I don't know, out of the 18, I think they only made like 1,800 of the things. They did not make that many of them. Let's see if we can find how many they made. I believe it was 1,800. So let's just assume they made 1,800 of them. And you're probably crushing half of them. At least half of them right there. So maybe there's 900 of these things sitting around. But who the heck knows? So let's see. Get a gig bag hardshell case Pro X that can allegedly keep the guitar safe for 6-story drop. Yeah, don't do that. That's kind of neat. So let's see. The free shared Firebird. The Firebird X inspired by the Firebird. But it's a little resemblance. Yeah. 3 silver-covered mini humbuckers, Alnico 5. Piezo which is nice to have a PAs. A lot of people do that more than. Let's see. Pickup configuration offers a whole wheel of options, more than 2,000 according to Gibson. For the control layout is bound to give you option anxiety. Yeah, right there you go. Has a pickup selector, volume tone. The digital variant was a 5-way selector. You have the tuner thing right there. All of this stuff. I think Trogly actually kind of did an in-depth review on one of these, and I think it took him forever to sell the thing too when he bought it. It was blue. I mean, the color is cool. I love the finish on these things. Silver toggle pot chooses the pickup configuration or tuner. If that wasn't enough, on the upper side of the guitar body corresponding sliders. I mean, at a certain point, if you have to put labels on your guitar to tell people what the heck it does, I think you're putting too much stuff on the guitar. I don't know if this one, these are peel-off things that came in with the guitar originally. If I ever bought one of these, I would want them there, but you literally have a giant hole in your guitar with equalizers and mods and echo and reverb and compression, distortion, EQ, and it was just too much. So that, I think, is where we're going to have it. It's either too little or too much. Definitely not Gibson's finest hour, and I would argue that these two guitars, or the Firebird in general, you could say, because these are technically two reverse Firebirds, are the most hated guitar ever. I would argue that they are the most hated guitar ever, just because of the stories behind them, whether it be too much or too little, quality control, or way too expensive for your average buyer that's going to buy one of these things. I mean, look at those cool little acoustic things now. When they got the touchscreen on it, you hook it up to your phone. It's not like $300 or something, and it essentially has all the same effects as this thing does. And yes, technology has progressed in the past, 11 years or so since this thing came out. But even then, smartphones were still a thing. Back then, they could have easily made it a lot simpler as opposed to hardwiring all of this stuff. And you still had to plug it into a computer to modify things. And it's something where you'd either really love this if you were in a studio all the time, if you're recording. If you're just the average dude looking to play a guitar, definitely not for you. And the Firebird Zero definitely isn't for you either because of all them good old quality control problems. That's where we're going to end it. I'm not going to drag this out any further than it needs to be. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.